Alright, in this video we are going to be tackling a subject that probably gets touched on multiple times throughout the year, probably every 6 months, but we're going to talk about it again, the downfall of Grand Peace Online. So Grand Peace Online at the time of this recording has 7,000 active players, which is not horrible, but it's pretty low. And it's not just the active players that I really want to talk about. I mainly want to cover why people generally will see less Grand Peace Online videos out there now, why I'm playing less Grand Peace Online, and just the history of the game, where it went wrong, where it went right, and just how we ended up where we are. So first thing I want to say is I've been playing Grand Peace Online literally since it dropped. Day one, I watched that countdown, bought it immediately, and I had a lot of fun for a long time. Obviously, with due time, people will scuff this number of scuff this time of when they think the game sort of went bad. In my opinion, it was probably update 3, update 4, after they started taking a really long time. There was that long hiatus in update 3, which I think for me at least is when I started to feel the first hints towards this game, drying out. That was a long time ago now that I think about it. But pretty much the game had a long-running problem of not giving us updates and not giving us content enough and going 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, no update. It was horrible. It was actually horrible. This would go on for probably about a year. I don't know. These dates could be off, but this would go on for probably about a year until they released the Battle Royale mode. Up until Battle Royale, they would obviously keep us busy with our 6-month-long update hiatuses, but when they released Battle Royale, it did give us a good amount of content for a little bit of time, actually. I enjoyed Battle Royale a lot. I thought it was a great addition, but I don't like the fact that instead of giving us major updates, it feels like we've only been getting tiny updates. They gave us a new Battle Royale season, but to me everything felt the same. They introduced a new weapon, but to me everything still felt the same. Even the fruits, they weren't very game changing. It felt like everything revolved around Battle Royale. No new islands, it felt less and less like a One Piece game every time I played it. I feel like the main appeal of this game was just gone. When we first saw sneak peeks for this game, those years ago, the game had these fresh new graphics that were super uncommon in Roblox games. It was a One Piece game that looked like it was like Blox Fruits, but completely revamped with a fully fledged PvP system, and it was just like a One Piece game. Now we have all of these different weapons that are from different games and these different fruit abilities that were definitely never in the anime. All these events that feel nothing like One Piece. And I feel like the game lost itself almost somewhere through the way. I think a big part of that had to do when they sort of rebranded a little. If you do remember, what game was it? There was a game, it was Shinobi Life. When Shinobi Life, way back when, had gotten taken down for being a Naruto game, it got very popular. Every game rebranded, did something to make itself not the anime that it was themed after. YBA did it, GPO did it. They just did things so they couldn't get copyrighted. And I feel like when GPO did it, it just felt weird. We had the Boa Hancock boss, which was really cool back during the Valentine's Day, the first Valentine's Day event, not the second one. Oh my god, I just realized we're coming up on the third Valentine's Day event. But yeah, during the first Valentine's Day event, and they changed it to some random girl, and they changed all the NPCs that were themed after the original One Piece characters. They changed them all, and they were on track to be actual One Piece themed bosses. They were doing really well, but at a certain point, they were almost unrecognizable. I think the last recognizable One Piece boss they added probably was Crocodile, right? I don't know who Musashi was supposed to be. Maybe Odin? I don't know. It almost felt like they gave up. I don't like the idea of the Musashi katanas. I don't like the idea of a lot of those random weapons. I feel like the game would do a lot better if they just if update 1 was just expanded upon. Like, they should have just tried to keep the formula similar. Also, I know this video sounds like me just complaining, which is pretty much what it's going to be. Like, I'm just dissecting where this game, like, I feel it went wrong. So if you're this far in and you just don't want to hear me complain for a few more minutes, then by all means click off. Like, I don't, it doesn't bother me. But the point is, I feel like if they had just kept the same idea of update 1 and expanded upon it, like, in case you don't know, or update 0, I mean, in case you don't know, and update 1, in case you don't know what update 0 and update 1 had, update 0, you'd reach the end game and you would be fighting Arlong in Arlong Park in a very unique, cool boss fight in a little boss room, where he would, you know, have different little stages. Well, they weren't stages. He would have different, like, attack types, and there was the buggy fight where you couldn't use swords, and it was really interesting. Like, it was super One Piece themed. And then update 1 dropped, and there was Enel, and you would fight Enel, and he would have his second mode, and you would fight him on Skypiea. It was really cool. And update 2 dropped and added Fishman Island, which was horrible, if we're being honest. Getting there sucked. I don't know why they made it a maze. I don't know why that maze is still in the game. The bubble mechanic was pretty dumb. Well, it was a good idea, just executed pretty poorly. And I don't know why you fought the King Neptune. I don't know why King Neptune was a boss. That doesn't make sense. He was an ally in One Piece. That really confused me. Gravito, or I can't remember his name in the anime, but it definitely wasn't Gravito. He was actually, he had potential to be a bit of a cooler boss, but he ended up just feeling really lame. Like, you see how the bosses kind of downscaled from update 0 and update 1 down to update 2. Like, the boss difference is absolutely crazy to me. They went from Arlong having the cool boss room with interesting boss mechanics, and Buggy only being able to fight him with blunt force, you know, canonically through the story. That's how it worked. And Eneru, how in a second phase you had to fight him with armament hockey, forcing you to get armament hockey. And then you get to update 2, and you just have a dude with a weapon that's exactly the same as when the player uses it, and a fighting style that's exactly the same as when a player uses it, except, you know, less damage. And then you have, guess what? What's it called? Gravito, which also sucked because it was just a fruit, but with no cooldowns and way more damage. Like, it just wasn't fun. There was nothing interesting about that. There wasn't a lot to it. It was very basic. It just felt like you were fighting a glorified player. A player with like 1,000 extra skill points is all it really felt like, which was really lame, because I remember, you know, getting all my friends on and trying to gank the hell out of Arlong in update 0, and I thought that was like the funnest thing, and all of us farming his weapon. And I think something else that ruined the game is the excessive amount of legendary drop rates. At a certain point, it was too many. Like, every boss they were adding had some random legendary drop, and that was horrible. The trading system, I actually did like. I think it was cool. If you wanted to get invested in it, you could. If you didn't, you didn't really have to. You could just farm. It's there. I feel like that kind of just was a pro. At times it could be toxic, but what are you going to do about that? That's more the community than anything. It's out of their control. But yeah, I was kind of annoyed with how grindy the game got when they started adding multiple, like, legendary boss drops to bosses. I thought that was kind of stupid. Yeah, and fast forwarding a little bit, then we got to update 3, and update 3 added the bunny event, which was really when it took a dive away from being a One Piece game. And the Valentine's Day event actually was very One Piece. Like, that was a perfect, I think the first Valentine's Day event was, honestly, though small, I think it was the best event, because it was perfectly canonical. It introduced a fruit that functioned almost identically to how it did in the anime, and she had her own little island, which didn't really make sense, but hey, it was just a little event. It wasn't that deep. I think it would have been cooler if they added the update for the sake of Valentine's Day and kept it there, so the Boa Hancock boss was always there. Like, they added her little island that she has in the actual anime. I think that would be really sick. It would have been really cool to see, but obviously that's asking a lot for a Valentine's Day event. So I was really happy with what we got though, and I think it was a really good event. I did not like the Alo's bunny event. I just like anything that made the game feel less and less like One Piece. I wasn't the biggest fan of. It could be executed properly. There were some instances where it kind of worked, but I don't like things like the World Ender. Battle Royale was not a bad idea to add. I just think they're basing too many of the updates around it. I think when we ask for smaller things to be added, we didn't mean add a game mode and then just update it frequently and only add things that pretty much revolve around it. Because think about it like this: when you add a devil fruit into the game, you pretty much have no reason to play main game unless you're farming devil fruits. Main game is just farm simulator, which I don't think it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't only be playing main game so that you can be better in the other game modes. Main game should be the main game. You should play the other game modes as sort of something extra. Like, it should just be extra. I don't understand why the Battle Royale, the latest edition, is probably the most played thing. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me. So I think from Update 0, and just to wrap this up because I've been rambling for 12 minutes, from Update 0 and Update 1, I think that was like peak. That was the golden era of Grand Peace. I think from there was a steady decline. Update 2 could have been better, but it wasn't horrible. They did add PvP, which was actually phenomenal. Fighting is a big thing in One Piece, and having a 1v1s game mode alongside the events that went on in main game worked really well. I liked it. But whenever they started straying away from One Piece more and more, the Elo's Bunny event, or the Easter event, whatever, all of this just random stuff, like, I know, like I said, I like trading, but trading kind of did feel weird for a long time. Especially when they tried to do that weird immersive trading with the lever. I don't know what that was about, but that's me getting off track. Yeah, I just think they slowly strayed away from what attracted people initially to the game. And that was the fact that it was just a One Piece game. And I feel like they ran away from that for no reason. Like, it was something they had that worked really well. And they just left it. You could tell they sort of got lazier with the updates. They sort of went copy and paste. Bosses got less intricate. The weapons got less interesting. Things got less One Piece related. And yeah, those are just my thoughts. Again, you don't have to think the same as me. Please don't hate. It's just my opinion. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.